As you can see, it has a lot of rips and tears in it. So the first measurement I need is this one. It is 2 inches. The circumference of the seat is 40.5 inches, and the bottom of the seat to the leg is 2 inches. The diameter of the seat was 12 1/4 inches. So here I am drafting how the seat will be. I am going to put in my diameter, and imagine that my circle looks like that one. So this is basically a rough draft so I can see my diameter and my radius. And at the top we have the 2 inches for the thickness of the cushion and the 2 inches from the bottom of the cushion to the leg. If you saw my chair cover video, I'm going to do the drawstring method at the bottom. So here I am drafting the pattern for the top of the seat. So I am imagining that I have 1/4 of the circle. So the circumference was 40.5 inches, and I'm going to divide that by 4, and I get 10 1/8 inches. So the curve should be about 10 1/8, and our radius is 6 1/8 inches. And then I will add a 1-inch seam allowance. Now for the rough draft of the circumference, I know that it is a 2-inch thickness, and it would have to be 40.5 inches long. I also need to add 1 inch of seam allowance all the way around. So that will make the strip 42.5 inches by 4 inches. Make sure that you follow me on Instagram. So when you add up the 2 inches plus the 2 inches of seam allowance around it, that's where you get the 4 inches from. And then the 40.5 plus the 2 inches of seam allowance is where you get the 42.5 inches from. So for these patterns, I'm going to be using copy paper, just to show you that you don't have to go out and purchase the pattern paper or dot paper right away. You can do your patterns at home using copy paper. So with my ruler, from the center, I am marking that radius, the 6 1/8 radius. And then after I do that, I am going to go back in and do 7 1/8 so that I will have my 1 inch seam allowance. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. After that is done, I'm just going to connect the dots, and you see how the pattern is coming together. So now I am marking my 1-inch seam allowance and the radius measurement. I'm going to cut one and fold it in half and in half again. So now for the strip that is going to go around the circumference, so I know that I want it to be 42.5 inches long and 4 inches wide. So what I'm going to do is take 2 sheets of notebook paper, no, 2 sheets of copy paper, fold it in half, and tape those 4 together so that I can have my long strip. After I tape them together, then I will begin to draw the pattern for the outer part of the stool. I decided to overlap them 1/4 of an inch. And I'm just using my ruler to make sure that I keep that consistent. Now from the bottom, I am just going to mark my 1-inch seam allowance on the bottom. Then I'm going to mark the 2 inches on the inside. And because this ruler is 2 inches, it makes everything easier. And you just want to make sure that you keep everything as straight and as neat as possible. Now I am going to add in the other 1-inch seam allowance. And the little excess, I'm going to cut that off. I'm doing my 1-inch seam allowance on the outside edge, and now I'm going to measure my 40.5 inches and then do the rest of my seam allowance and cut off any excess. And you just want to double check, make sure that your measurements are correct. And then cut the excess off and label your pattern. If you would like to see me do a tutorial using the actual pattern paper that you use in fashion school, please comment about that below. And there you have it. I'm going to mark our seam allowance. Going to put our grain line, and then we're going to cut one of these out of leather and out of the stretch fabric. So make sure you go watch part 2 to see the sewing process. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.